there, and welcome to AskChefChristy.com. One of the questions I get a lot is from people who have been put on a gluten-free diet, and once they see all of the restrictions that they have from wheat, barley, rye, spelt, and that sort of thing, they look at that list and think, well, there's nothing left that I can eat. There's absolutely nothing I can eat. And if you're gluten-free like me, there are a lot of grains that are available to you. So let's take a look at the things that I have here today. I have some of the most basic grains that you're probably going to be eating a lot of, and that's rice. So here I have a long grain white rice, a long grain brown rice, and a short grain brown rice. Now the difference between the brown and the white is just that the white has been milled, it's had the bran, the endosperm removed from it, and it's basically nothing but starch. The brown rice is a whole grain, and it has all of the nutrients that come with a whole grain, and so it's going to be healthier for you. Now the difference between the short grain rice and the long grain rice is the short grain rice is going to be stickier, and that's also called glutinous rice. And that's a big point that really trips a lot of people up, because they hear that word glutinous and feel like, I can't eat that, it's got gluten in it. It's really kind of a misnomer. It's not the same kind of gluten that appears in the kind of grains that you're avoiding like wheat and rye and barley. It just means that it's a stickier rice. So a long grain rice is going to be individual grains, while a short grain rice is going to be clumpier or stickier like sushi rice. I also have some wahani rice, which is a varietal from Hawaii, and I've got some wild rice, which grows primarily in the North Midwestern area around Wisconsin and Minnesota. It's got a huge amount of vitamins and minerals in it, and it's got a really, really rich taste. In fact, you don't usually see wild rice served by itself because it can be a little overpowering. So generally you see wild rice blended with wild rice, long grain brown rice, and white rice all together. Then of course we have corn. Corn's in everything that we eat in the United States, but that's okay because as gluten-free it goes, it is, and you can eat corn. It can appear as whole grains like this as popcorn, or you can get it as cornmeal, corn flour, cornstarch, all sorts of products that come from corn. Now on this side I've got some grains and some seeds that may not be very familiar to you. Here we've got buckwheat. Buckwheat is used in a traditional Russian breakfast food called kasha. It can also be ground up into a flour and used in crepes and pancakes, and it's got a really nice nutty flavor to it. If you're going to put it into a blend like an all-purpose flour mix, you want to keep it to about 10% because it adds a nice body, but it will kind of take over your all-purpose flour, so you don't want it to be too prevalent if you're going to mix it like that. Next up, we've got oats. Now, some people with celiac disease or gluten intolerance can tolerate oats, and some people can't. Oats actually do have a type of gluten in them that's a little more water soluble, and it makes it easier to digest. Some people just can't digest it at all. Another thing that you need to look for with oats is that often it's grown in fields with other types of grains growing in them as weeds. And so the best bet that you have is to get certified gluten-free oats to make sure that it's been grown in a field that's been gone over and all of the other types of grains have been removed from it. Here we have some seeds. We've got amaranth and quinoa. Both of these are from South America, and they have a really high protein quotient. Quinoa in particular has an almost perfect blend of amino acids in it. It makes a great protein substitute, and it makes a really good cold salad like a tabbouleh, or you can make it as a warm side dish. I like it with a little olive oil and corn and green onions in it. It makes a wonderful side dish to any kind of entree. And then last but not least, we have millet, and you may look at the millet and say, but that looks like birdseed, and you'd be right. It is birdseed, but it's also a great grain to incorporate into your diet. It's really, really high in B vitamins, especially B17, which is an anti-cancer vitamin. And you can buy it like this and cook it as a side dish. It makes a great stuffing recipe for the side of your Thanksgiving turkey. And you can also buy it puffed like that. In fact, this is what I had for breakfast this morning with some almond milk, and it was really delicious. So just because you've been put on a gluten-free diet doesn't mean that there's nothing left that you can eat. And you can incorporate all of these wonderful grains into your diet. And if you have any questions, don't forget, ask Chef Christy.